Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. It is I, Jesse Milestone, coming to you on this Friday with both good news and bad news.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
Where people were just walking around, just jizzing force all over the place. He looks like he has been drinking soy from his mother's teat. Wrap yourselves in, guys, because we are gonna get mean!
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. My name is Jesse Milestone, and this is meant to offend. So if you're offended, good. That's right. An entire stream, however many hours that I'm here, of just purely offending anyone I possibly can without fucking apologizing. There will be no apologies made on this stream, not for any of your fifis, not for any reason, not even for misunderstandings. If you can't get over the fact that a misunderstanding has happened, I will correct misunderstandings if they need be. But that is it. Oh, that's not even Lando movie blocks. That's Jane. Jane is of your sword. He is back there being of your sword. You should be offended that you got his sword wrong. He is ready to offend you. Jane, are you offending everybody? You are offending them all. So, first thing I'm just going to leave that here. Jane is just going to be there judging the fuck out of you. Now, here's the fun part, is you guys can participate as well if you like, right? If you think that you are not offendable, then send me a super chat with your most extreme or polarizing stance on something. So it doesn't matter what it is, but something that you have a very extreme opinion on, that you or a very absolute opinion, because I have some extreme opinions. I have many extreme opinions. I also have many extremely moderate ones. Jane comments, offense. Yes, offense, go, gadget, offense. I will offend whoever I choose. So I'm watching his eyes just narrow, right? So if you want to send a super chat with that said, with topic suggestions or the thing that your opinion that you want me to tear down, then see if you're tough enough. See if you can hang, because that, by the way, is the first group of people that we're actually going to discuss tonight, right? Group number one. So yeah, if you feel like being roasted, just offer yourself up for roasting. But group number one, right? This is probably the ones that pissed me off the absolute most, because they're the ones I have to deal with the absolute most. And these are the group of people who love to go, oh my God, I'm so not offended by like anything ever. And then the second you say something that they don't agree with, they go, hey, but how can you say that? Case in point, right? I watched a lot of people. I mean, the election was a great example. The election was the perfect example. You'd go with one group of people and listen to them rail to the ends of the earth. Trump this, Trump that. He's so awfully, so terrible. Anyone who likes him is stupid. Anyone who likes him is this. Anyone who likes him is that. Blah, 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 blah. And the second you tried to say something bad, I think it's not even bad about one of their candidates. It's like you try to just tell them, like, maybe you're not correct about all of these opinions. How could you suggest that? And vice versa. Vice versa. You try to go to a Trump nut and suggest that he might be flawed. Not even a bad guy. You try to suggest that he might have a flaw. See how that one goes for you. Once again, whining, crying, screaming. Get the fuck over it. Who cares? Canadians also, by the way, I'm coming for you guys tonight. My teeth are itchy. That's I'm coming for you guys tonight, Canadians. So don't you worry. Don't you fucking worry. It's happening. No, so those people who are like, I'm not offended by anything, but they are. Oh, also, Greg Kirby, make sure you shoot me an email with your address to send the Heroinberg sticker to. And I think there's one other person who didn't send me their address, so I should. Speaking, what you doing? Why are you knocking stuff down? It's because you can't get onto the tree. Well, it's not my problem, buddy. You just gotta go on the lower part of the tree. Oh, Spush is like, nope, yeah, come on. He's like, but I want to get up here. Spush is like, no. Well, Shemanga, you can't stay up there. You're not supposed to stay where the TV. Oh, okay. It's in the about section, and I wrote a comment for it as well, Greg Kirby, but it's me.mindlessentertainment@gmail.com. There you go. Howdy, MJ1 Media. So these people, I cannot fucking stand the people who act like they don't get offended, but literally just get offended. And they're like, oh yeah, I totally have thick skin. I can totally take it. No, unless it's a joke about something that they get offended about. And then they just want to cry like everybody else. It drives me up a fucking wall. If you get your panties in a wad when someone disagrees with you, you are not somebody who is difficult to offend. If you just think it's funny to watch, this is the thing that people do. They're always like, oh, I don't get easily offended, because what they do is watch other people get offended and think it's really funny when those people get offended. But when something happens that offends them, oh, they are just as fucking sensitive. Good movie blocks, the way it should be. Well, thank you, Greg Kirby. I sent you mine, so you should be able. You can just shoot me one right from that. But if I don't hear from you in a couple of days, I will. Thank you for the super chat. I can't roast your email address because it's your email address, but now you guys can all email Greg Kirby if you want to. Thank you for the super chat, though, my man. Oh no, in terms of where I need this, yeah, I need you to send me an email with a physical address, because I need to send you physical stickers. I cannot email you the stickers. So yes, so you have my email now. I dropped it to you there, but so send me an email with the physical address for me to send the stickers to you. Yeah, because like I said, can't email stickers. But yeah, no, favorite one ever are all of my fans and followers who love the Meant to Offend series, who absolutely adore the Meant to Offend series. But the second I have an opinion that does not align with their opinion, oh, wow, you're so stupid. You're just so stupid. They wanted me to immediately. That's how you know they're offended. I'm not offended. You just don't know anything. Really? So you're not offended. You're not upset. You're now just calling me names, calling me a moron, making fun of me, and not actually refuting my argument, but trying to just flat discredit my argument and my entire personage. But no, you're totally not offended. That's just regular. That's just regular ways to be. Regular fucking people just totally can't handle anyone else not being all about their opinions. I'm gonna lean into, I'm gonna lay into it. I'm just gonna call it out, right? There is a certain subset of people. Who take it when they realize that one of your opinions is not a mainstream opinion, they take it very personally. You know, if all of their opinions are these weird, crazy fringe opinions, and yours is not, they take it very, very personally that you don't have their same weird, crazy opinion on fucking everything. Dixon Sider, thank you for the super chat. Says, would you mind showing everything I sent you and Jeff for the P.O. box? Also, I want Buffalo Jeff to marry me one day. Dixon Sider, I don't know where all of it presently ended up, because since you have sent the box, we got that whole wrongful eviction thing, blah, that we're dealing with. And so the box was emptied and things were put away or found places to be put. And I don't even know where like regular everyday things are right now, because we were just like, all right, let's just deal with shit that we need to. But when Jeff is off of the High Council, he probably, don't knock that down. He knows where some of it is. Oh, I'm sorry, don't bump you with this. Sorry, buddy. He probably knows where it is. So when he comes out, I'll definitely ask him to grab it. But I did drop the P.O. box down at the bottom for everyone to see. Jeff is finishing up the High Council, Emily, but he'll be around when he's done. I may invite him to come on. Originally, this was just going to be me, but I'm feeling a little not great. So I'm going to keep offending with as much muster as I can for as long as I can. But I'm just going to heads you up. I don't know what happened, because I saw D. James Baker was here and ready to go. So I don't know what happened between Livet and now, but like, I felt fine getting up from Livet, came in, used the bathroom, all this stuff, got up after that, and then just suddenly felt not great. So offendeditis should be a word. It should be the act of wanting to be fucking offended about fucking everything all the fucking time. And I hate to say it, but I've had to, like, it's happened in our own sphere too. This is not just the SJW people, although we'll get to them. Don't worry, they got a special place in all this shit tonight. the thing is, it's not that difficult, right? It's not that difficult when you break down the identity politics people. It's not very difficult to prove why they're complete and total morons. We'll wrap on this and move to them. If you claim to not be easily offended, also like this is the one that gets to me too. The same subset of people. Why do you think I fucking care when you suddenly did get offended? Why do you fucking suddenly think, oh, Jesse's so funny. I love listening to her offend everybody. This is so great. Meant to Offend is my favorite segment. And the second I offend, just, whoa, hold on, Jesse. You got to stop. You got to fix this. You got to change all of your opinions and fix all of your opinions to make sure that they're correct and they don't offend me anymore because they're wrong. Like, why do you suddenly fucking think that because I said something you don't agree with, I'm the one who's wrong and has to fucking fix it? Nah, bitch. I have the platform to say whatever the fuck I want. You have equal opportunities to go say whatever you want on those same platforms. So go do that and then leave me the fuck alone because I don't care what you want me to say or not. That's like such a pet peeve of mine. Stop telling people what you think they should or shouldn't say. You all fucking love to come to my channel specifically because nobody in the goddamn world aside from me controls or dictates what it is I say. Not a goddamn person. And yet, the fucking second I say something that you don't like, well, how could you, Jesse? You're turning into an S. That's my fucking favorite one. That's my fucking favorite one. The people who immediately want to accuse me of being an SJW the second I have an opinion they don't agree with. Dude, fuck yourselves and die. Anyone who wants to pull that shit, oh, you turn an SJW, Jesse? Fuck, even when you want to joke about it and be like, oh, I noticed you have an SJW haircut. Shut up and die. You don't even know what SJWs fucking are. I have literally been going toe-to-toe with these motherfuckers since they started existing in fucking college. And I don't care how many times I have to reiterate that point. I am so fucking sick of people trying to be like, no, that's pretty SJW of you. Sounds pretty SJ. Not fucking understanding what an SJW actually is and wanting to just call you SJW, you're social justice warrior. No, that's what it stands for. It stands for social justice warrior. So getting a haircut you don't like doesn't make me a fucking SJW. Having an opinion that you don't like does not make me a social fucking justice warrior. And in fact, being more liberal than you doesn't make me a fucking social justice warrior. Not hating women does not make me a social justice warrior. Not hating black people does not make me a social justice warrior. Not like accepting transgender people does not make me a social justice warrior. Let's talk about that one for a fucking second. Let's talk about that one for a fucking second because there's a fucking problem. There's a fucking problem that's happening. And the people who are getting the brunt of it are the actual trans people just wanting to live, right? Just because just because you think you're all gender fluid and this and that does not make you trans. Just because you want to adopt this word and run around and saying it doesn't mean every single trans person is like that. So maybe you should stop acting like such a fuckface and acting like you represent a subset of people that you don't even represent, for first of all, right? Because it is the entire fault of this social justice community why suddenly everyone and their mom thinks that this gender fluid, let me change my pronoun every 3 days bullshit is the same as being transgender. Because those people call it, I'm trans and trans rights, trans this, trans rights this, trans. No, those are not trans rights, guys. Trans rights are not fucking pronouns and that shit, right? Trans rights are people who literally want the right to just live and be, and trans people. What's going on, Keely John? I'm just defending anyone I can, right? And this is something that happens that I fucking can't stand too. It's like, I get it. We have a lot of opinions in our community about how many genders there are and pronouns and this and that. What? First of all, the thing that drives me crazy is when people in our community get just as pig-headed about there's only 2 genders, fuck you, as anyone else. Like, dude, that is just as much an opinion as the other thing is because we made it all up. Now, if you want to say there are 2 sexes, that's totally fine. There's a penis and a vagina, and there's occasional hermaphrodites that, as mostly as people generally accept, is just a scientific anomaly. It's just a mutation that fucking happens. So at that point, you're going to hear no argument from me on that. But the whole concept of gender is something we as human beings just fucking made up. So it is equally as idiotic to argue the truth and merits of there only being 2 genders as much as is the truth and merits of there being fucking 37 of them. There are as many fucking genders as you fucking decide. And until the majority says otherwise, let's go with 2. And if y'all want like a weird other pronoun, well, like I said, I'm cool with 1. One other special little pronoun to announce to the world that you're too fucking special to do what everyone else does and just pick the one that corresponds to the shit between your legs. I don't care. Have that. It's fine. Everyone wants to be a special little snowflake. You want to identify as that shit? Great. But they're really like, what value as a society do we gain by getting more and more words to more and more specifically define people? Exactly, movie box production. Sex is bimodal, gender is a social construct. I could literally identify as a bellowing Balrog and it would technically be valid because it's all made up. Exactly. I identify as blank as a just fucking no matter what you finish that statement with is equally as valid as the other. And that's the problem. That's when the people actually lose their argument because I identify as an attack helicopter is the perfect retort, to all of that. Because it's like, well, you guys are literally just inventing new gender definitions every fucking day. Why can't anyone else do that? It's all equally made up. But the flip side is, just because I believe that trans people exist and have the right to exist and have rights, that doesn't make me a fucking social justice warrior. It just means that I don't give a shit what you do to your body and how you identify. I think every human being has equal right to live and be treated the same way, no matter what. I don't care. It's like, I think that's the whole thing. It's a whole, we all talk about that. We talk about the social justice side of things of like, it's not my business. Stop fucking shoving your pronouns in my face and your way of life in my face and all the shit in my face because it's not my business. I don't care what you do in the bedroom because it's not my business. Well, the same fucking thing. There you go, Chico Stevenson. In my book, you actually fucking can. As far as the mindless mob is concerned, you're all just fucking people. And anything else is extra. Even literally, what fucking sex you are is fucking extra. Are you a human goddamn being? That's all I need to know to strike a conversation with you. Because other than that, you're probably not very good with the type of linguistics that I'm familiar with. And once you've established that, you're goddamn human, you're not a gorilla or something, and that you speak words, then that's that. An NPC in 2000, if that fucking offends you, then go fucking throw up and die, because this is the meant to fucking offend stream. So if you want to sit here and literally get offended because I'm talking about a type of person that is different from you, then you are the exact type of person that is intended to be offended by this fucking stream. And you are no different than any fucking sensitive snowflake social justice warrior. So make your jokes if you want to, crack all the jokes you want to, but don't fucking be surprised if I hammer back twice as fucking hard. This is the meant to offend stream. If you can't hang, you can't hang. I'm not here to apologize, and I'm not here to fucking explain myself. I wrote the stream. It's called Meant to Offend. Y'all know what's up. Y'all came to my channel to listen to me go on this shit. So if you don't like something I'm talking about, you know you can take yourself out just as quickly as you took yourself in. Or you can sit here and you can try to argue with me about it. That's totally fine. You can hang out all fucking night and try to convince me why you are right. And you will lose because I will do it better than you. The Price is Right review. Thank you for the super chat. Says that's the biggest point of free speech. If anyone tries to silence, you speak louder. We may not agree on everything, but you keep speaking your honesty. Thank you, The Price is Right review. And that's what it is. That's what it is. That's it. The end. I don't give a shit if you like what I have to say or you don't. I don't give a shit if you agree with me or don't. You have every right to say whatever the fuck you want to keep saying. You have every right to not. That's about topics again. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about how people really, really need to learn the fucking difference between you're harassing me, you're offending me, you're hurting my feelings, and like I'm making content on my channel. You are electing to come here and have this content, and then you're electing to go in the world and cry about it. Now this is, obviously typically a very social justice warrior thing. It's not limited to the snowflakes, but this is definitely very snowflakey. This is my fucking favorite argument they make. You don't deserve to have a channel or a platform. You should be shut down. You should be stopped. Why don't you just stop watching? Like, really, why don't you just stop? What does it have to do with your life? Why? Oh, we got a kitty in the chat. Hi, more kitty. I just gave a thumbs up at the same time. At the same time, someone gave a thumbs down. They negated my thumbs up, or you negated their thumbs down. Bam. Either way. So, who cares? And I don't even give a fuck because it's all engagement. And I don't even give a fuck because I don't actually care about YouTube anymore. Guys, if you want to catch me on my real platform now, I have it where I'm like doing the real stuff, the real shows. I mean, outside, well, I have my guests here and they're awesome and they're wonderful. But my day-to-day streaming life, my music playing, extra ranting, chatting, walking around, wandering about, just living my best life is over on Live It right now, which I dropped in the chat. So Greg Kirby says, press the damn offended button. More is in here. I'm meowing at everybody. Culture Casino says, I'm watching you and Jeff at the same time. Cool. Very cool. Nice and badass. Oh, and just a reminder for anyone joining, guys, if you want to be the topic of offense, drop me, you feel free to drop a super chat suggesting a topic, or drop one with your most polarizing opinions and see if I can offend you. That's the game is always on the table. But yeah, Dixon Cider, per your earlier super chat, I fully intended to show off your whole box on one of our streams. And then I think that was actually right around when we got that notice and everything just kind of went to fucking hell. Where was I? Oh yeah. What is this new business of like, we have to control the entire stream of information? Why can't people just be okay with the idea that if you don't like what I have to say, just go somewhere else? Go somewhere else. It's fucking information. It's just words that I'm saying. I'm not hurting anybody with them. I'm not attacking anybody. That's something also we need to get over as a culture. This business that like words hurt your feelings. That's it. Words hurt your feelings. If we accept any greater impact from words, if we want to assign blame for words, and just words, not actions with words, right? If you are cornering somebody who is trying to get away from your words and you are not allowing them to escape your words and your words are, abusive, that's different. I'm talking about like the situations, where, and I feel like some of this came from that. We had a few of these big cases that came up where questions were asked about culpability in suicide cases, where there was a really famous one where like the girlfriend, I think, was like berating the boyfriend and like going out of her way and like trying to get him to kill himself, like encouraging him to do it, knew he was depressed and was like encouraging him and goading him into doing it and like really, really wanting him to, and then really didn't show remorse after he did. So, excuse me. Whatchamacallit? Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, the one where, yeah. So, so that raised all those questions, of the culpability there, but that's a very extreme circumstance. And I think even in that circumstance, it was still really, really, why can't I words? It took a lot of evidence before she was able. No, I'm actually just drinking water. NBC 2000. I'm just feeling kind of gross and off tonight. I'm losing my train of thought now. Excuse I. I'm hoping to get a second wind here and not just like throw up on camera or something. But yeah, and I think people that just stuff like that made people feel very entitled to suddenly start assigning blame to just everyone who was using the words now instead of the recipients of them. And once you do that, though, I mean, that's a slippery slope that there's no coming back from. How do you demonstrate, because that's the whole thing is that was such an extreme example because it could so clearly without any reasonable doubt, be demonstrated that this woman made an active attempt, to get this guy to take his own life, that she was very actively involved, and that her involvement likely, even, the get back in the car thing, that her act, that without, I think it was made crystal clear that without her involvement, it is very likely he would not have killed himself. And that, I think, is sort of the crux of it. But barring such evidence, you cannot prove the effect of someone's words in most situations. And the thing is you cannot, again, outside of a very, very anomalous situation, words don't have mind control powers. Words do not have mind control powers. They don't make you do things you don't want to do, including feel things you don't want to feel. Case in point, there's the easiest way. There's the easiest way in the world to fight this argument, right? The easiest counter to that argument that's someone's words are responsible. The words made. I just forgot my own fucking point. God damn it! I don't like this. Whenever I'm feeling like not good, it's just like too hard to manage all the subjects. Reading the chat and thinking and talking and blah. I'm gonna get it back because it was really good. I was like, bam, disproven. That words can make. Oh yeah, no, for the feelings one, right? Because we have all had an example in our lives where people have said the same. Two different people have said the same thing to two different results. Most basic example, somebody you're attracted to gives you a compliment. Yeah, it's the greatest thing in the world. Somebody that you find completely and totally gross gives you a compliment, might read as completely creepy, even if the intention is exactly the same. The flip side too, right? If somebody says something critical to you or shitty to you, it hurts a lot more if that somebody is someone you care about than if it's someone you don't care about. The words that were said to you were identical. So it is clearly not the words that have the power to cause the offense or the harm, but rather your feelings about the person saying those words. That does it. Think about that one. All right. I did see this one here. So D-Day Doug says, I don't get offended so easily, except when someone uses autism as an insult. That's it. So, question about that one, though. Do you get offended if somebody uses retarded as an insult or just specifically that one? Because, like, one of these for me is I'm always like, well, I don't think we should just get rid of the word retarded. We all pretty much use it as an insult. Nobody really uses it anymore to say, like, I'm actually a retarded person or a mentally retarded person. That's considered pretty much faux pas. So for my take on it is, well, since we don't use it to mean people who are differently abled, we should probably still use it to mean people who are stupid or dumb, people who are slow, the literal definition of it. It's fine with me. Nate Dogs 212 says, offensive that supposed adults act like children. Tell me about it. That, I gotta say, is something too, though, where that was always a turnoff from the shows like Family Guy, who's centered around, Peter Griffin is an adult who acts like a child. The Simpsons, where Homer's the central character, acts like a child. The one that I could tolerate was South Park, because the adults weren't central characters. We were focusing on the children who acted like children, which made sense. And the adults are not, they're stupid and different. Well, like, they still know more than the kids, It's not like these shows where the kids know everything and the adults are just like functionally retarded. I don't like that. There's something about that. I just don't enjoy watching that happen. Yeah, no, that's a reasonable thing to be offended by. Nate Dogs 212. I can't really take umbrage to that one at all. They're supposed to act like children. Loki, overpopulation is the cause of all our problems. I don't know if it's the cause of all our problems. I think the base level humans fucking suck, but I'm actually going to take this one. It probably offends people in the other way, going the other direction. Overpopulation is a huge problem. And guess what? The only answer is to stop treating human life as precious as we do. That's really the case in point. There's my extreme stance on the overpopulation question. My offensive stance is that I don't regard human life with this abject preciousness over any and all other life. Let's put it that way. It's not that I don't regard human life as precious or worthwhile or in need of preserving or special. It's that I don't really put it any higher than like other things, such as, I don't know, the lives of anybody else. I don't have those ideas of, you can't value and barter and prioritize in this. No, sometimes you gotta make hard decisions. That means that just not everyone lives. And I think it's the stupid people that we should prioritize getting the fuck rid of. Plenty of land of the government, a lot of people have obtained it, no overpopulation. Well, that's not true at all. That's just functionally not true. That's not the problem with overpopulation. The problem with overpopulation is not land, NPC 2000. The problem with overpopulation is the mass consumption of resources, of finite resources, without the same amount of time or energy being used to replenish those resources or find alternate, less finite versions of them, and repurposing land and government land in order to make more cities actually completely does the opposite problem. That actually creates more of the problems than you're trying to get rid of. When you take all agricultural land and government land, take all the national parks, say all the government-based grazing land and stuff like that, and you want to turn it into a city, and you remove the ability to farm and graze at that level, with those things, whatchamacallit, then you have, that's the thing, right? I mean, so you want more farmers. Well, if you're distributing land, you're going to ultimately have fewer of those overall. There's already a problem in this country with access to enough grazing land for the farms that we currently have to sustain all of the livestock that we currently have, yeah, exactly. Loki makes it about cutting the Amazon down for soybean farms isn't exactly a solution. Exactly. We can't destroy all of our natural resources. We cut down all of our trees to make room for all of our farms. Well, then what are we going to breathe? There is a finite amount of space on this planet. And the thing is, the solution that just says, oh, let's just level everything to make room for more people, discounts the fact that even fucking people need some of these natural resources the earth provides us to live, let alone all of other creatures on this earth, which I believe have just as much of a right to this fucking planet as we do. So who the fuck are we to displace them and take their habitats and let them die just because we want to expand more? Who are we to say that they should die so we can live? I'm perfectly comfortable saying that more people can just fucking die so that we can have more and better habitats for animals. I'm with NBC on this one. Cut the fat, let the dumb people die, stop feeding the masses. I think it's basically, and it's not even about like, oh, handouts are helping people or this or that. I think it's about getting rid of warnings for stupid people. I think it's about getting rid of protections in society for stupid people. We have so many of them. Protections that allow morons to keep their jobs when they're not competent at them at all. Protections that allow morons to get access to opportunities that they don't deserve and will do nothing with. The money and infrastructure spent on trying to protect morons from fucking dying by doing dumb shit like, I don't know, walking off of things that they shouldn't have been standing on in the first place. Fuck banning selfie sticks at the Grand Canyon and shit like that. Fuck signs warning you about the dangers of taking selfies on fucking waterfalls. Let them have it. Let them fucking have it. If you are dumb enough to eat a bag of peanuts when you are deathly allergic to peanuts, you deserve to fucking die. Save us the energy of printing that on there. Save us the money it costs in lawsuits. Save us the fucking tax on society from people worrying about lawsuits from fucking morons. That's how you deal with overpopulation. You just take away all the protections for fucking stupid people and let them fucking die. Then you answer the questions. Oh, well, how are we going to make sure we have enough jobs for our unskilled labor force when the robots take over? Well, guess what? When you don't have any fucking morons, most of your labor force will be skilled. And then you don't have to worry about replacing the unskilled labor with robots. You will have skilled, smart people. And when you have smarter people building a more stable economy for everybody to live in together, then you can have those people just going and creating art. And since you don't have to worry about catering to stupid people, and you can live in a stable world where people have the money to invest in those things, you'll have plenty of jobs because people won't have to work necessity-based jobs. They won't have to work essential jobs anymore. They can work jobs that provide non-essential services to society, but just services that society just wants, that they just desire and crave. That will be so much better. Easy solution is people using personal restraint for the sake of the planet by limiting their offspring to 2 maximum. Loki, that asks for a level of altruism you will never see from human beings. You will never see that. The thing is, it's a great idea. It is a great idea to say that overall human beings as people should, in the interest of population, limit, until population growth has slowed down. We need to make an average of that, or whatever it is. But then there are lots of counter. Then the thing is, the counterexample to that, the counterpoint to that though, is what about the people who really want a big family? Is it fair to the people who want a big family to deprive them of that? What if the only thing they ever wanted in life was to grow up and have a gigantic family? The whole thing is that if I'm here saying, well, fuck you and your overpopulation, fuck overpopulation, fuck you and your right to life. Well, I'm being just as arbitrary, and I have just as little right to restrict or deny anybody else. I'm really all on board for just, we need to kill more people. NPC, you can't even joke about that shit in this chat or any chat at all. That's not cool. You should know where the line is on jokes. I'll let you leave it up there if you want to deal with the fallout from that shit. But it's not about being offended or not. I'm not offended by it. I don't need you to take it down. I am blocking you or removing it. So case in point, not offended. But if you don't realize why that's just not a funny joke, you're just being a shitty edgelord now, then I can't help you. Why not? Let's talk about that for a second. And thank you, Vicious Archon, for the super chat. Thank you so much. Let's talk about that for a second. People, from the same token of people being easily offended, right? No, Greg Kirby, not for a second. I think it's ridiculous and completely unwarranted and totally obsessive. But I'm not offended by it, and you have every right to continue to hate her. But I'm entitled to that opinion, just as you're entitled to your hatred of her. This is the other thing, right? The people who are just like, oh, I can literally say anything I want to in the name of I'm just being edgy or this or that, and then want to fucking whine and cry when people are like, don't say that shit. Yes, NBC 2000. If you don't understand why you probably shouldn't write a post like that in someone's chat, especially because here's the other part of it too, right? It's not about being offended or being if you're serious about that, NPC, then you need to get the fuck out, because actual racism is not acceptable here. Like this is some shit. If that's actually your opinion, then you need to fucking take yourself out, or I will escort you out. Because if that is your actual fucking opinion, then I'm done with you and you don't need to be here anymore. Because that's the other fucking thing. This business of like, I'm just gonna be funny. Guess what? Actual racists still exist. This business too of like people want to be like, there are no real racists. There are no real bigots anymore. Yeah, there fucking are. They're just they're not the ones everyone's claiming they are, but they still fucking exist. And to act like they don't is just as naive and ignorant as running around and trying to claim every little fucking person is for every little regression and this and that and the other. NBC 2000, you need to figure out what the fuck you're saying. You need to figure it out real fucking quickly, because I'm losing patience with you. That's the shit I have no patience for. There's some things I have no patience for, and it's the I'm just disguising myself as an edgelord. I'm so funny, ha ha ha. But actually, white people are ignoring us. No, they're not. They're the same as every other people. We're just fucking people. News flash: your skin color has no bearing on the quality of human being that you are going to be. If you feel differently about that statement, you are racist. The end. And I'm seeing there's back and forth on Loki's opinion. That's the whole thing is, right? The reason Loki threw this out there is a polarizing opinion. Probably thought he was going to do a little more pushback from me on it, and rather than feeling this little. There has to be a point. That's the whole thing. It's more freedom, more freedom, more freedom. Okay. What there are other ways to deal with the population. I just think there are plenty of ways. My ways is I don't necessarily believe in birth limits. I do think that's a valid perspective for people to explore. I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing it up and wanting to discuss it. Emily, you should know how I feel about eating vegans. I did a whole video on that. I'm all about eating vegans. I think that's a great way to control the population because let's face it. Vegans are, for the most part, fucking obnoxious, and we don't need them because they are annoying. Not saying all annoying people deserve to die. I'm just saying that not all vegans deserve to die. Let me be very, very clear. The preachy vegans, if you are a preachy vegan, you can be turned into food. That's fine. That's what my here. You want my polarizing take, Loki? Here's my polarizing. Here's my extremely polarizing take on overpopulation. Expand capital punishment. Open it up to more fucking things. Utilize it more freely in murder cases, and expand the way and quit with this, years and years on death row. And oh my God, did we get it wrong and accuse the wrong fucking person? Finite amount of times for appeals and shit, and a very, very finite. What's up, D-Day Jedi? D-Day Jedi. And then just fucking. And then, sorry, but if you rape a child, you can die. If you murder a child, you can die. If you, yeah, I think I think even certain ones that don't even involve murder, certain rape cases are extreme enough and damaging enough to people that I'm fine with capital punishment in those examples. Certain instances of even grand larceny, where if let's say you ruin someone's life over it and in ways that they can't ever get recompense for, I don't care, fucking die. We don't need you. We don't need your society anymore. If we're getting to the point where we're talking about overpopulation, we need to make some hard decisions, some difficult decisions as to who needs to live and who needs to die. Well, guess what? If you're out there making decisions that actively cause great amounts of harm to other people, then why are we saving you? Why are we keeping you around? I don't fucking care. Human life is precious and this and that. This is where it all devolves into abject hypocrisy for me. When people want to whine and cry, the death penalty is so cruel, it's so inhumane, it's so in this and this. Okay, great. Address every fucking thing in your goddamn country that causes undue cost to human life and figure out which one costs the most, because guess what? It ain't the death penalty. The death penalty is not the most unfair thing causing loss of human life on a grand and totally unfair scale. That is just not fucking accurate, and to believe that is fucking naive. There are bigger fucking fish to fry out there. So don't give me that sanctimonious bullshit. And that even too, when it comes to the abortion debate. Oh, but life is precious and babies. Guess what? Life is life. Life is life. A baby is just going to become an adult one day. A fetus becomes a baby, who becomes a child, who becomes an adult. And they're going to die one day too. And if it ain't your business, it ain't your fucking business. So if someone else is dealing with that shit, why are you so worried about that when guess what? There's probably 1,000 things you do in a day that contribute to unfair, unjust loss of life, probably when it comes to children. There are probably policies you support or politicians you support that have policies that lead to children in poverty going hungry and fucking dying or getting beaten to death because they're not being protected properly from their fucking families. So I'm just over the sanctimonious life is so precious, life is so precious, life is so precious bullshit. I don't care. I don't care about life is so precious bullshit. unless you actually walk that walk in every facet of your fucking life. If not, then I don't want to hear about why it's so great to protect these lives, but not these lives. Because guess what? There are plenty of other fucking lives that you're equally unprecious about. I don't want to fucking hear it, you fucking hypocrites. That's please drop your opinion, Movie Blocks. That's what it's here for. You're allowed to. Get flamed. Who cares? Not by me. Jun Wong says, all this fighting is meaningless. Listen to my song. Hashtag cross free at last. Is that your song? It's meant to offend night. The point is to offend people, Jun Wong. So nobody's fighting. I'm just yelling at everybody. I'm just yelling at literally everybody. Oh yeah, don't forget to fucking press the like button. If you don't, I won't be offended because that's really not how we play these games. Here's one. Okay, so Canadians. Oh, okay. Getting married in the summer now, says Emily. As in this coming summer or next? Are we still on? I'm trying to remember where we're at timeline. Or did you move that up to like this summer, or did you move it, or is that next summer? Because I feel like it wasn't going to be this fall. It was going to be, okay, cool. Gotcha. I will keep that in. I will make a mental note of that. And so there's no chance of anything getting in the way, because even if it conflicts with Summer Nationals, I would skip Summer Nationals for your wedding, obviously. Okay, so here's for my Canadians, guys. My darling, delightful Canadians. I love you guys, but why the fuck do you give a shit about what's going on in America all the fucking time? Like, I get it, it's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, and it's like inescapable in some instances. But like, why do you have so many opinions on it? Like, I'm honestly like this one. That's one that just like, and it's honestly, it's because it's what about moving the penis of rapists? I'm for that, Sam Rogers. For the interest of overpopulation, we're just going to kill him for the interest of this discussion. So this one, okay, Canadians, why the fuck do you care about American politics? Why are you involved in our politics? Why are you talking about it all the time? Why are you out there making videos on, like, I literally see fucking Canadians fucking making videos on it. Yeah, but Emily, what happens in Canada affects us by the same token. The shit that's happening in our day-to-day does not affect the things. Americans don't need to be talking about it to the extent that we're talking about it. Americans don't need to fucking care what our presidents are saying and memeing and thising and thating. So why the fuck are you guys so wrapped up in it? Seriously, stop. I'm not saying this because it makes me mad or upset or anything. I'm saying it because stop. It's the worst thing that's happening in this country. It is the absolute worst thing that's happening in this country is the obsession with talking about politics all the fucking time, with obsessing about it. Oh, I just seem okay. That's fair. The Brits the Brits are just as culpable. I hear it more, I would say, from Canadians and Brits than anywhere else in the world, but certainly it's happening there. But the rest, like, seriously, the worst thing that happened in our country is everybody fucking bitching about politics, left, right, and center. Stop. The rest of the world needs to fucking stop. See, once again, I'm telling you guys why it's so fucking awful that our entire country has just devolved into political word vomit. And what do we have? What do we have? Immediately, political word vomit. You guys can't help yourselves. And I was like, Americans, Canadians, British, anybody, you can't fucking help yourselves. Stop talking about it. Stop caring. Next time someone brings up Trump, just say, I don't care. Next time someone brings up Biden, just say, I don't care. Watch what happens. The conversation stops being about fucking politics and starts being about something you probably both actually like. Fucking don't fucking do this to me. Do not take the shittiest thing to happen in this country in fucking years and bring it to the rest of the fucking world, because for some reason, the bullshit retardo circus that we deal with it day in and day out is now your primary concern as people. Do not fucking do this to me. I will just stop going to countries that want to talk about American politics. That's cool. And see, the thing is, if you like politics and you like talking about politics, like, go find political Facebook groups and talk about it with other people who actually care and actually want to talk about it. Otherwise, what you become is just, okay, you're the person who loves fucking Lego blocks more than anything else in the world. And so you just go into everyone's chat and you bring up fucking Lego blocks and how great they are in the construction of Lego blocks. And in every conversation at every fucking party, all you do is talk about Lego blocks. That's great, Itis Steam. That is awesome that that's your passion. Fencing is my passion. Fencing, I have studied fencing for 15 fucking years. You know what I don't do? I don't go on and on about fencing all the fucking time, because not everybody fucking cares. Not everybody fucking cares about the thing that I have dedicated my entire life to doing and caring about more than most other things. I know more about fencing than most other human beings on the planet, and I care a lot about it, and I can talk about it infinitely. I will never run out of things to say about the sport of fencing. But guess what I'm not going to do? Run my fucking mouth about the sport of fencing every live stream, every discussion, every group with every group of people. Because guess what? Not everybody cares. And if you're one of those people who loves talking about it as like, ooh, yay, hooray, I can use this as an excuse to make everybody else talk about the things that I want to talk about, fine, good for you, congratulations. Just realize that you're making the rest of us miserable at the end of the day. So there you go. The thing is, talk about it, enjoy it, have at it. If anything I say stops you from doing stuff, well, then that's fucking retarded. Because once again, that's my other thing too. Jun Wong, I do talk about it a little bit on Livid. I'm going to do some Livid streams talking about it too. So, yes, Eric Black, this is how everybody in Philly talks. So the fuck you, Shadzar. Fuck the no. So. That there, and on that top, we'll go to another one. We'll go to the next part of that too, which is my other favorite thing. When people are like, "How dare you tell me what to do?" Just don't listen. You don't believe in censorship because you said if anyone says this, they're stupid. If anyone believes this, they're stupid. Did I stop them from saying it? Yeah, but you said if they said it, they're stupid. They're allowed to be stupid. I think that they're stupid. I can think they're stupid all I fucking want to. Like, I'm allowed to think that stupid people shouldn't talk. I'm not stopping them. Like, that's not censorship. That's one driving up a fucking, like, that's honestly, I think the snowflakes, the anti-SJW snowflakes piss me off more than the SJW snowflakes. Because I'm there for, like, I hear, like, I've been combating the SJW snowflakes aplenty, and I know their shtick, and they're very, very easy to talk to. You card someone a garden tool today, they didn't get it. Nice, Emily. Bam. It's the ones, it's the snowflakes who are like, oh, well, you're censoring me. The ones are the freedoms ones. Where I'm like, you clearly don't understand what your freedoms are, and you clearly don't understand the fact that your rights stop where mine begin. Parody Bear says, Jesse, please tell me more fencing terms. Well, we had parry, thrust, riposte, disengage, compound attack, lunge. You're going to use lunge more often than thrust anyway. Generally, lunge is your attack. A thrust is implied with a lunge. So instead of thrust, I would use lunge. Cut if you're saber. I didn't Movie Block Productions. YouTube must have done that. Wait, did YouTube get rid of your comment about liking Nazis? That's hilarious. So it did not get rid of NPC's comment about wanting more white babies, but it totally got rid of your comment about liking Nazis. That's interesting. Because I didn't delete that. So unless anyone else, any mods in here did that, Yeah. All right. Movie Block says Antifa isn't bad. Socialism isn't bad. All right. So this is your offering up for this. Okay. I am going to take you. I'm going to fight you the fuck. Oh, you're just making a joke. I was going to laugh so hard if you hadn't tried to make a joke about that. And oh, that people call everything cancel. Yes, that. Oh, no, I see what you're saying. Oh, you don't leave my comment like Nazis. This is such a literally not anymore. You got that about when people are like, when people are out there. So like when NPC 2000 is like, oh yeah, we need more white babies. And I'm like, no, that's actually fucked up and racist. Don't say shit like that. Oh, but why not? I can say what I want. No, you're actually just being racist. Like that's just racism. No one's censoring you. They're just telling you that racism isn't acceptable. So Movie Block says Antifa isn't bad, socialism isn't bad. So this is your polarizing take. These are two very, very different pieces to tackle. So let's see. I'm going to tackle Antifa first because I think it's going to be shorter. Antifa, I have to go with bad on them because they embrace violence. It's plain and simple. Antifa accepts and embraces violence and violent actions as part of their tactics. Antifa also is not a group that they're not an official, which is also, by the way, side note to that, right? For anyone who wants to whine and scream and get their panties in a wad about how come Antifa isn't branded as a terrorist organization or this and that when these other groups are branded as a hate, when the Proud Boys are branded as a hate group and all they are white supremacists, but Antifa literally wants to hurt people and they're not branded as a hate group. Well, because the Proud Boys are white supremacists and you need to get over the fact that you think that they're all good people and decent. Like the people need to get over the fact that like if you attach your name to those things willingly, you're probably a white supremacist because that's kind of a big part of their identity. That said, not every conservative person who voted for Trump is, so we need to draw the line there too of like, okay, if you actually associate with a group whose stated mission, involves white supremacy, then you're probably white supremacist. But just because you voted for the same candidate that those people also voted for doesn't mean you believe the things they believe. Anyway, anywho, but Antifa, so the reason Antifa can't get branded as a group the same way those are because they're not really a group. They're just literally like, there's no like a lot of these organizations, things like the KKK is like an organized group. You can join. They have like a membership thing. Thank you, Kane Derricks. But you can't like go join Antifa. You can't like, go like sign up online for Antifa somewhere. So there's no group to brand any one way because there is no group. There are no Antifa meetings. There's no Antifa headquarters. It's less of a group of people and more of a title ascribed to a type of person, right? So so that for me is when people are like, well, why aren't they a hate group? Because they're not really a group in that sense. You can't brand. It's like it's not like well they're anarchists or they're or they're communists. It's like when you call it it's actually more like calling them anarchists. Anarchists back in the day versus anarchists now. Anyway, blah. Eric Black local, but there's no one. The thing is like there's no one centralized. It's like saying. Like let's for a weird example, let's equate Antifa to like the fucking I don't know Rolling Stones fan club. Let's say there's no official Rolling Stones fan club. That's really literally, it's like we're equating these groups to fan clubs, right? Some groups have an official fan club. They have a website. You can go to their website and join their official fan club. There might be other knockoff fan clubs, but there's only one official one. And all the official fans are connected through that official thing. And they host official events and officially sponsored things under their official umbrella. They have, logos that are probably copyrighted. Only, if you don't use them, if you're not official, you can't use them or you get sued, blah, blah, blah. Antifa doesn't have any of that, right? If there was no official Rolling Stones fan club and a group of people, got together and said, well, we're the official Rolling Stones fan club, and branded themselves that and met in the city, and another group did in another city, another group in another city. Well, no one of those are the official fan club, and no one of those have any actual attachment to the Rolling Stones themselves or any legitimacy, behind them in that regard. So there is no legitimate organization behind Antifa. That's all I'm saying. There is no legitimate organization. There is no organization to brand as a terrorist organization because there is no legitimate organization. They are just they organize in cities, they organize here and that and whatnot. But there is no centrally organized, registered with anywhere, thing is, a lot of these organizations like the Proud Boys or even the KKK, again, these groups register as special interest groups or whatever's, with their communities, to get when they're, whatchamacallit. I think there's they get permits to organize events. They get themselves registered in communities as certain special interest groups and whatnot to get certain privileges that come with those in their communities, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just talking words further and further. Anyway, so that aside, I do think Antifa is bad because they embrace violence as part of their philosophy. Any group that embraces violent tactics as part of their philosophies is not okay in my book. So I cannot back Antifa because they support and back practices that involve violence and destruction of property. And I'm just not okay with that. It's just blanket one way entirely. Those are the generalizations that I can make. The blanket statements I will make, I 100%. Violence is not the answer. And treating people differently based on intangible qualities is not the answer. Bigotry of any form, discrimination of any form, not the answer. And any system that asks for one of those things to be part of it, I cannot embrace. I cannot get behind. And Antifa, the people who call themselves or brand themselves as Antifa, embrace violence, and they embrace social hierarchy that treats people as lesser based on skin color. Not all of them, but certainly a lot of people who identify and brand themselves as Antifa are willing to and are searching for and trying to create a society in which non-white people are treated as superior to others. We're given more privileges than white people. And I'm just not okay with that, because I think that ultimately, just however long it takes, 30 years, 300 years, 3,000 years down the line, all you just have is the exact same system of oppression, but just in reverse. And 3,000 years from now, when it's white people who've been slaves for however long, who's to say that we are not equally, the ones suffering? So that's the whole thing. But that's why I can't be okay with Antifa. Antifa doesn't seek to fix the problem; it just seeks to reverse it and give different people the power. Now, socialism isn't bad. That is a statement I can 1,000% get behind. Because guess what? Most people who are afraid of socialism are too fucking retarded to actually understand what it is. This is my favorite. My favorite thing is when people try to tell me that the Nazis were socialists. I did a whole video series on this one, and it pisses me off when people do this. Yes, I understand they're called the National Socialists. If you are naive and ignorant enough about Nazism to actually believe that Nazism was a true and honest brand of socialism, then I have nothing else to say to you, because you have demonstrated that you are too stupid to understand history. Now, if you are willing to accept, if you have perhaps believed that thing, but willing to accept that you may not be correct on that one, then by all means stick around and learn something. Hitler actively decided to brand his presidents, like him and his, very genius propagandist bitches, actively decided to use socialism somewhere in the name that they gave their party on purpose, because socialism was very popular in Germany at the time. Germany was dealing with the fallout from the Treaty of Versailles and how it crippled their economy, and socialism was sounding really, really appealing. And so when Hitler wants to swoop in and take the power, right, there was a lot of very, very good propaganda that went on to make them realize, right, because that's while you are correct, Parody Bear, the economy, it does not have anything to do with the hate. However, it was a great situation that allowed for the hatred to take root. Whenever you have situations, pressures where you have a large group of disgruntled people, they are looking for a scapegoat. This is all documented history, right? Where they were looking for a scapegoat. Hitler gave them the Jews as a scapegoat. But the other thing he did was purposefully brand Nazism as National Socialism, because the whole concept of socialism was very appealing to the exact people he was trying to get on board. He does not look at his fucking practices. There's nothing socialized whatsoever about Nazism. Nazism is totalitarianism to a T. It has nothing to do with redistributing wealth or sharing out to the individual, to making sure people have equal equal access to anything. That's just this whole idea. Well, it's socialism because they said it was. It's socialism because it's socialism. Do you know what fucking socialism is? Albatross asked a great question. Can you define socialism? I keep getting it confused. No. And that's the problem, Albatross, right? Because socialism actually means a lot of different things. There are a bunch of different kinds of socialism. There are a bunch of different, there is, much like when we talk about Antifa having no one form of central organization, communism is a very, very specific political ideology, right? Socialism is not. It's really not a political ideology. It's an economic model. Well, or it could be a political ideology, because that's the whole point. Is right. There's political socialism. There's economic socialism. There is Marxist socialism. And I'm by no means an expert, so I wouldn't be the one, Albatross, anyway, to go and give you the specific definitions for the individual different types of socialism that are out there. However, the word socialism itself, you can just fucking on Wiki. It's not like you have to go on a deep dive for this. You can literally just go on the Wikipedia page for socialism. To get the beginnings of this stuff. But essentially, so you have socialism because of its connotations being used a lot throughout history for those things. Hitler uses it in the 40s to create national socialism, which has nothing to do with socialism whatsoever. It really just is nationalism and fascism. It's nationalism to a T. It is. I mean, look, it's the last great bit at world domination. What if that's not nationalism? I don't fucking know what else is. Show me the socialized part of that economy, because that's the whole thing. It's people want to yell at you. Oh, obviously, it's socialism because it says it's. I want you to just demonstrate to me which ones of Hitler's policies, which of the implementations of Hitler's policies were vastly socialized, please, because it doesn't, because they're not. Socialism, now the thing is, Loki, that's also not true. Socialism actually functions in our society, in American society today, very effectively. Socialism governs a lot of other first world societies as well. See, the thing is, again, communism. Communism is the thing that works great on paper, but not in practice, because human greed gets in the way of it. And so Marxist socialism, by that token, is the same thing. The type of socialism everybody screams and cries about and freaks out about is Marxist socialism, which is hilarious, because then they try to equate it to Nazism, like, well, National Socialism, it's the same thing. It's all socialism. They're all evil. National socialism couldn't be more opposite from Marxist socialism. Marxist socialism is a thing that everyone talks about. It's the precursor to communism. You accept socialism, you'll just be communist in like 3 years. No, Marxist socialism is literally that, but literally was invented by Karl Marx. Karl Marx invents Marxist socialism, which is the thing which is literally just the precursor to communism. That's all it is. That's where socialism is just the precursor. No, Marxist socialism is a concept that was invented by Karl Marx specifically as the precursor to communism, which is literally, it's basically a soft communist state for your governance before you can introduce full communism. Regular economic socialism is the most common form of socialism, and it's implemented in the US government. It's implemented heavily in the Canadian government, heavily in the British government, and in most European countries. Economic socialism is quite simply any form of aid, stimulus, etc., whatever. Social security is socialism. It has the word social right there in there. It's a fucking clue. Social security is socialism. So if you like social security, well, then you don't hate all of socialism. Taxes are not socialism, Parody Bear. That's not what socialism is. That's literally not. Your taxes are super high because of it, but it is not what that is. Now, not every countries with more socialized programs will by de facto have higher tax rates, because now the thing is, if you didn't have those ridiculously high taxes, right? Yes, Loki, taxes pay for social security. Okay, right. Again, taxes are not socialism. Raising taxes is a necessary side effect of socialism. Taxes are not de facto socialism. Taxes are the way that a government makes money to do things. That is the only way that a government has an income. So if you want a government, you kind of need them to an extent. I love that. I really enjoy the people who are like, no taxes ever. Great, then no government. So just live in anarchy, which is fine. I would love that. I would love a country where it's just, okay, live and let live, because I'll carve out my little fucking island and I will fortify it. And if you come near it, I will shoot you to death. Because guess what? When you live in a society with no laws, that's what happens. Somebody with the person with the biggest gun makes the rules. But taxes are not de facto socialism. Yes, taxes go up when socialism happens. Now, in a correct society, one that is run correctly, Loki, that's also not true. Undocumented immigrants who do not pay taxes do not reap the benefits of taxpayer systems. They cannot. They do not have the documentation in those situations to get those benefits. This is actually a very common misconception in this country. The undocumented immigrant, largely, and I'm not saying every single one, but on a large scale, the undocumented immigrants who are receiving taxpayer benefits are actually tax-paying illegal immigrants. Yes, there is a system in this. Thank you for being here, Dixon Sider. Take care. There is a system inside this country that allows for illegal immigrants, while awaiting status or awaiting things or other whatevers, to still be tax-paying citizens. And so the ones that actually qualify for government programs and qualify for aid under the government are actually, for the most part, paying their taxes. So I don't agree that we should just be wantonly allowing illegal immigrants into the system, but they're not the major drain on our benefits that everyone acts like they are. It's Eric Black. That's a completely different question, though. I'm not talking about undocumented work people abusing undocumented workers, because that's different. That's not on the up and up. I'm talking about people who are actually, who may have come here illegally, but are now trying to go through the process of citizenship. There are ways set up so that they can pay their taxes and then have access to certain things. Also, if they're in like sanctuary cities or here, undocumented, but here under asylum and stuff like that. Not so they're not illegal technically, and actually they're not undocumented at that point. They're documented. They have a documentation. No, the biggest strain on our system, the biggest strains on our system and the biggest waste of taxpayer dollars is honestly one of the biggest waste of taxpayer dollars is just government abuse. You want to find out where your taxpayer dollars go? Look at the government. Look at government spending. Look at you will find so much of it if you just trace it through those avenues. Actually, that's exactly the thing, though. That's what they want you to think. Your government wants you to believe that the majority of your of taxpayer dollars that go wasted, they go to illegal immigrants. They don't. Honestly, they probably go to the people telling you that they go to illegal immigrants. They don't. Like, I think everyone has this crazy idea that it's like super glamorous to be an illegal alien in this country. It's not. And again, the people who are telling you that it is are probably the people who are actually the ones responsible for taking your taxpayer dollars away. Look at the tobacco companies. Look at how much we have a department of tobacco, firearms, and alcohol. We have an entire department devoted to fucking tobacco, which all it does is kill people. So you want wasted money, you wasted taxpayer dollars. There are plenty of places where they're going that are not not those other ones. What are we getting offended by tonight? Stage shorts. Apparently, we're getting offended. Everyone's getting offended by the word socialism. It's really funny because everyone's terrified of it and doesn't realize that it's actually there. Like, literally, there is no country. Like, America doesn't exist without socialized programs. It just, like, again, Social Security is one of those. We remember how everyone freaked out and panicked when they thought it was going to run out. Remember how even the most conservative people in the country freak out when you try to take Social Security away from them or their grandmas. Yeah, people like Social Security in this country. That's socialism. That's economic socialism. Is that you pay more taxes and you get more stuff. That's the way it works. I personally am for that. I am for economic socialism. I prefer, I don't, because I think economic socialism is necessary where human altruism fails. I think capitalism only works when human altruism is a thing, because capitalism requires in order for capitalism to function in a permanently sustainable way in the long term, then you need, then the people making the most need to be putting the most back in. I personally am for a system where everyone there's a baseline. There's a baseline. You're not going to die because your heat gets shut off. You don't need to be fucking homeless or hungry. That's it. Nobody in this country needs to be homeless, hungry, or without basic necessities. Outside of that, parody bear. That is not true, actually. That is so beyond not true. This was actually, I remember this blew my mind when I learned this. Most Americans have collect back everything they put into Social Security within the first couple years of being on it. Actually, part of the reason that the system isn't working well, return on the investment, no, it actually has the ones not getting the good return on the investment is the government itself. The people themselves, most people who get to the age where they collect Social Security end up collecting way more than they themselves ever paid into the system. And which is hence why you have the problem. When people start living longer and longer and collecting more and more of that Social Security, you don't have enough money. It works like insurance. Social Security works like insurance, right? If enough people buy into it, most of those people aren't really going to need to use it. But if enough people pay enough money into the system for long enough, then the people who do need it will have plenty of money to cover them without breaking the bank for the insurance companies. Social Security works the same way. We all pay that money, and not all of us are going to make it to 55 when you can start officially, or 65 when you can start officially collecting. Right? Not all of us are going to get to 65. Okay, so those people who don't make it, who maybe those 64-year-olds are the best ones, right? Because they've been pumping money into that their whole lives, and they croak just short of the finish line. But for everyone else, most of us are actually, those of you who are making it to the point where you're collecting Social Security, the vast majority of people collect, because the thing is, you don't put that much in, which I think is stupid. That's something that you want to talk about, how easy way to fix Social Security. Well, it's already the most broken system as it is. There is a maximum number that everyone puts in a year. If you make under a certain amount, maybe you don't get to that amount, but it is not that much. It's like if you're making up to $100,000, but by the time you're making over $100,000 a year, you're already maxed out when you're contributing annually towards Social Security. So if you just striate that to income, so literally, look, why not? It really would not hurt people to revamp Social Security, and literally all you would have to do is just keep graduating it up. And you could still put a cap on it. Just take it a little higher. Just take it double whatever the income cap you have on it is now, and you will infinitely, whatever the maximum amount is that to put it in now, and you will infinitely increase the amount of Social Security. Loki says tax havens are a big problem as well. Exactly, because you have people who get all that money and do not want to put a single cent back into the system of that money, and they want it not even to their paying their fair share of taxes. So it's oh, well, of course you wanted to fuck the system and fuck the tax. You just don't want to pay any of it at all. You want to reap all the benefits, but without paying absolutely a single cent towards it. But anyway, that's the thing. The thing is, there's no such thing as a socialist society, though. That's not really a thing, because socialism in practice isn't really usually a form of governance. It's usually an economic model. And actually, socialism and capitalism work hand in hand really, really well. If you model your economy off of the ideas of capitalism, but you implement socialist economic policies within your government as essentially safety nets for where capitalism fails some of your population, then hey, I don't personally have a problem with that. I don't see why everyone seems to think that's such a fucking polarizing, horrible idea. I think that you just build a model. The thing is, people don't realize you can have both. You just need a model in which, if you have the money, you can continue to pay more of the money to get nicer things that other people don't have access to. It's just not everyone is going to have that money to pay. So those who don't have that money to pay just don't have to pay that money. Or can just basically, we'll just get less nice things for less money. To me, that's the perfect system. What is wrong with that? You have essentially socialism for people who need it and capitalism for people who want it. You create a universal healthcare system in which everybody has equal access to basic healthcare. And then if you're rich, you can pay for super fancy healthcare. Can still be single payer, all the same system. You just have tiers. You can just pay for a higher tier that gets you maybe access to different quality or more, more people or different quality of people, or puts you in the front of the line. Shortens your wait time on elective procedures and stuff like that. You can have both. There is no reason why you can't have both things, why you can't have a society that builds a safety net to subsidize it. Again, a lot of other countries do this. I know Australia is one where, like, if you lose your job, they actually take care of you. There's a whole income and benefits package, not just like a little employment. There's a whole benefits package, until you're back on your feet. There's a base level of like, oh, you can't afford to work and live and do these things. Here is a base level of needs that will be met to make sure you don't fucking die while you're looking for a new job. But if you're rich, you can have the mansion, have all this stuff and have all that. I don't see what's wrong when we as a country have the capacity to make sure that all of its people don't just randomly fucking die because their basic survival needs aren't being met. I don't see why we shouldn't strive to make sure that happens. But hey, that's just me. Let me hit some of these super chats that I've missed and I'm a little behind. Loki says, were you there for Bill Burr's famous Philly rant? I was not, but I have heard it. And, he can suck a dick. I love Bill Burr, but he can suck a dick over that one. Nobody makes fun of my fucking city. People do it all the time. I do it all the fucking time, but he doesn't get to. I get to. I think it's around. Yep. Chun Wong, thank you for the super chat. Says, second racism, we must interbreed until all are orange. To end. I thought it sounded like second. To end racism, we must interbreed until all are orange. God help us all. I like being milky pale. Can I stay milky pale? I don't want to be orange. Orange wouldn't go well with my hair. I'm vain at the end of the day. What can I say? Revenge of the Netherrealm. Thank you for the super chat. Says, remember when bonds were a thing way back then? And from one gun owner to another, it amazes me how crazies want to take away our guns so badly. Well, I can't actually claim ownership yet because I don't actually own one of my own, but I have wanted to for a long, long time now. Although Go Big or Go Home will relate hardcore. And yeah, no, that's another one. That's like, there has to be a middle ground, I am not one of those people who wants to live in a society where everyone just feels very, very comfortable walking into a supermarket with a rifle strapped to their back, just out in the open, because whatever. I mean, better a rifle than like a handgun because, the accessibility and all that stuff. But this business where it's like, it's in the fucking Constitution. You want to just go away? Like that there's no intelligence. What do you want to hit that one for the meant to offend one real quick? People need to stop, stop and remember that there are two sides to every fucking issue. All right. People need to realize that. And now I will say, I will start because I'm going to dig pretty heavily into the other side of this one. I will start by saying that the gun people, and I think the thing is, I'm not talking to people like Sean, Go Big War, Go Home, Revenge of the Netherrealm, or all that, right? Because Sean's the first one to tell me that there are the gun people out there that need to chill just as much as the anti-gun people. Because those people, the ones who need to fucking chill, the ones who are like, yeah, we should be able to have fully automatic weapons in schools and like shit like that. There's even less extreme versions that are still to me pretty extreme. I agree completely. Like that, like the fact that like people don't, anyone who's like really, really ham on open carry everywhere forever. I'm asking a lot of questions about, because I'm like, really, what value do you get from being able to openly carry your gun? Like, and what reason is there if you already can carry concealed? The only reason that you're bitching about wanting to carry open is because you don't fucking feel like concealing your weapon. And that's the thing with guns. Like, the thing is, even with carry laws and whatnot, Whatchamacallit, I think that there's a lot of wiggle room where private businesses absolutely have the right to dictate what does and doesn't go on inside their businesses. Within no, not within reason. Within that, just private businesses are private businesses. If a private business says you can't wear a hat, you can't wear a hat. If a private business says you can't bring in a gun, you can't bring in a gun. I mean, it's like if a store has the right to, if a store has a right to refuse you service for not wearing shoes, they certainly have the right to refuse you service for carrying a gun. That's fine. But beyond that, oh, I'm pissing Sean off. Go, great, awesome. Be offended. It's the bet to offend stream. Beyond that, people need to chill and realize that guns are part of our society, and they're not going anywhere. And to take the stance of they're all bad and they need to go and they need to die. And also the business of like, let's make laws about them without knowing anything the fuck about it. Because the thing is, I know how little I knew about guns until somebody bothered to teach me about guns, right? So I'm very, very aware of how little most people know about guns who have not actually taken the time to fire. I still know precious little about guns, and I've shot them many, many times. And I know more than like the average non-gun owner about guns, I would say. And so I'm very aware of the fact that a lot of the people who are super concerned with gun legislature have never held one and don't know what any of this stuff means. I'm even learning things from people like Sean. Okay, fine. Why do you want to open carry so bad then? Why do you want to fucking open carry? Why do you want to open carry? Because that's one of those issues there. This one I'm not going to let go because this one is a your rights, my rights issue. Why the fuck do you need to carry a lethal weapon and put it in my fucking face when I'm eating at a restaurant or going to the fucking grocery store? Why the fuck do you need to have an implement whose primary design is murder in your fucking face? There are laws about open carrying knives that are just as reasonable. Because guess what? It makes regular people not feel great when they see somebody walking in with a desire to let everyone else know that they have a weapon meant to do murder. So no, that's not one where I feel like you're all protected under your little rights. Yay, my freedom, my freedom. Suck a dick and shut up about your fucking freedom for one fucking second and maybe accept that somebody else has a valid opinion. And just because you're hiding behind your amendment, that means you get to say anything you want. And the second somebody says something you don't like, well, my amendment tells me I have the right. Your amendment don't say shit about open carry. And you're allowed to open carry all you want. And I am equally allowed to tell you why I think that's bullshit. Why I think that it is inappropriate to walk around on the street brandishing lethal weapons openly. Period. Guns, swords, knives, the end. And I love me a sword. I love me a sword. But I don't see why I need to walk down the street holding one or having one sitting on my hip. Because what does it mean? Why? What the fuck? What the fuck? Great. I don't hear your reasoning yet, Sean. All I hear you is telling me that these are straw man arguments. So I don't hear your reasoning. My rights stop where yours begin isn't a straw man argument, Sean. That's a constitutionally based argument. I have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I have the right to walk around feeling unthreatened. Seeing a gun causes people to feel threatened. To act like it should be normal to walk around in a society where we just see guns all the time. If that's the world you want to live in, go for it. My rights stop where you begin. That's a constitutionally based argument. If people start walking around with guns, it is reasonable for me to, when I see a bunch of people carrying guns, to wonder if they intend to use those guns and for what purpose. The same reason when I see a person walking around with a hammer hanging from a tool belt, I assume they're probably going to go to use the hammer. Probably maybe not as a weapon because a hammer is a tool for other purposes. Sure, I could assume that the person is off to go hunt somewhere. But if they're walking down the street or walking through my local fucking supermarket, I'm not really going to make that assumption. You can tell me my arguments are wrong all you want. Make a real one. Make a real counter argument. Stop telling me they're straw mans. Make a fucking real counter argument. Oh, it's because I'm conditioned to feel that it is. All right, Sean, are we just going to stop making movies? We're going to stop making action movies in which we harp on and obsess over the fact that guns are meant for murder? Is that really the society you want to live in? That's the society you want to live in, Sean? You want to live in a society where everyone just treats a gun like a regular pedestrian everyday object? It's not. It's not supposed to be. That's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. Because you should never pick up a gun or look at a gun and feel like, oh, this is just a regular everyday object. You should 1000% of the time always be thinking of it as what it is and what it has the capacity to do. The same way you get behind the wheel of a car. You should not pull out your cell phone and start texting and start whatever and just assume that your car is going to get you where you need to go. Every single fucking time you sit behind the wheel of a car and you put your fucking seatbelt on, you should think, I'm in control of a deadly weapon. And part of the problem with society is that we don't do that. We've normalized this idea that it's totally fine to act like an asshole when we drive, to act like we're the only people on the road when we drive, to talk on our cell phone when we drive, to be distracted in a million different ways when we drive. We've normalized that, and now you have assholes on the road killing people left, right, and center because they have lost respect for what it is. So when you create a society where everyone walks around feeling totally fine and comfortable seeing guns left, right, and center, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to live in a society where we see this object as normal, everyday, and pedestrian. That's not okay. The same way it wouldn't be okay if it was a knife, if it was a pepper spray or whatever. It's not considered. If you saw somebody walking down the street with pepper spray in the holster of their pants, you'd probably feel a little uncomfortable. You'd probably feel a little nervous. You're like, why the hell do they need to carry that out there so accessibly? You'd have the same feelings, and those are perfectly reasonable feelings. How haven't I made a good one yet, Trump? Because your only counter argument to my saying that your rights stop where mine begin is people have been conditioned to be afraid of guns. So we should just recondition all of America to not be afraid and it'll be fine. Your counter argument is that I'm wrong because we should just recondition all of America to feel comfortable with guns. That's your counter argument. And you can come on here and fight with me all you want about this, but guess what? You're allowed to have your opinion. I'm fucking allowed to have mine. The original design of a gun is to kill people, Sean. This is one that drives me crazy too, right? Because we're not talking about all guns. Of course, guns are made for target. Guns are made for hunting. Guns are made for sporting purposes. Guns are made for all different kinds of things, okay? The gun was invented to murder people, Sean. Don't act like it's not. The gun was invented to be a more effective way to take human life and animal life, etc. That's what it was. They did it in the Old West. What happened there? What, open carry? People shot each other up. It's considered the most lawless time in American history when they open carried. That's what happened. It's largely considered the most lawless time in American history. But yeah, no, I'm sure history was just wrong. I'm sure that entire idea of the American outlaw was totally made up. Billy the Kid wasn't real. Billy the Kid took 21 lives before he was 21 years old, which was the age he was when he died. But yeah, no, totally. I'm sure it was a really great time. It was super fun. The entire reason I say I would like to be alive in that era of history is because my gender wouldn't count for shit because I could have a gun that would be the equalizer. And so I think that shit is great. I think that shit is fun. But I also know to what? No, guns were not invented for killing. Guns weren't? Or what were guns invented for then? Because I'm not sure what this no is about right now. No, they're all fear-based. All fear-based. Everything's fear-based. Everything's fear-based. Have a real argument, Sean, because you're just breaking down into being that person, into the my fifis. You love guns. We get it. I love guns too. But loving guns doesn't mean everybody else in the country needs to feel about guns the way I do. Because that's where you're getting now. Now you're not thinking about every American and their rights and their wants and their needs. You're thinking that because you like guns and you think that guns are misunderstood and you think that people should not be afraid of them, that everyone should walk around with one on their hip or whatever you think they should have or whatever you think they should do. That's not the same as saying that my argument's wrong because all people are afraid of them. People shouldn't be. Of course people should be afraid of guns. They kill people. The day people stop being afraid of guns is the day I don't want to see them in society anymore. The entire reason why guns can be, or my entire predication on introducing guns safely into society is having a society that does understand, that is educated on exactly how dangerous and lethal these things can be. Because without that acceptance and without that respect for it, you will not have safety. And I'm sorry, but if you want me to believe for a second with how stupid humanity is, that this entire fucking country is going to be conditioned to live in a world where they can act safely and rationally while all openly carrying lethal weapons? No, that's not correct. Murder, what? I said killing. I said guns were invented with the express purpose of taking life more efficiently, and that is what they were invented for. And they were invented first with the idea of wartime uses before they were, specifically invented with the desire to more efficiently take human life. So, if that's a lie, well then go rewrite history. That's. But cool. Well, not the person I expected to offend, but there you go. Yeah, a car can save your life and kill people. The thing is, a lot of things can. The thing is, they can do all of these things. Arsenic in the right situation might be. Who knows? Actually, too much alcohol in the right situation can save your life. Alcohol is a enzyme inhibitor to antifreeze. So if you drink antifreeze, alcohol will save your life. Alcohol is poison. Alcohol is literally poison. Your body processes it as poison. When you drink it, your body goes, oh no, I've been poisoned. And all the shitty feelings you feel is the feeling of you being poisoned. But if you drink antifreeze by mistake, then drinking alcohol will save your life. There you go. There are other situations in which that can happen. That's the thing. Vicious Archon says, firearms are considered tools until they are on the receiving end. The thing is, a firearm is, look, a fencing sword is considered a weapon. I consider it a weapon. I call it a weapon. The thing is, this is something I was taught early on in my fencing life. A fencing saber is a weapon. It is a weapon. You call it a weapon. You treat it thusly. You don't treat it like a toy. You don't treat it like something you brandish and wave around and whatever. It is a weapon. And it is treated thusly. Am I always 100% responsible with that concept? No. But because that was so deeply and firmly rooted into my brain and body, then this simple little piece of unsharp steel, I treat with that level of respect. And so, no, I don't want a society in which we all wantonly treat things that take human life with that level of flippancy. And that's just me. I upset Sean Firefart. I think he went away. Okay. Because I said I don't think we should have open carry laws in this country. I don't. I just don't. I'm actually kind of surprised that was the person that I solidly offended away. But hey, it's always going to be someone. But yeah, I mean, that's like, people get offended. See, everyone's got their issue. Everyone's got their issue, and it's awesome and great to let them talk about whatever they want. No one's putting words in your mouth, Sean. I'm asking you for your words, and you're telling me you don't want to tell them. You're telling me you can't type out your argument here. You have plenty of time to type out all kinds of things about how I'm wrong and I'm stupid and my argument's a straw man and this, that, whatever. You didn't call me stupid. But you have plenty of time to type out how I'm wrong and how my argument's a straw man. I don't know anything about this, but you have no time to bother actually telling me what you do think. I'm reading your chats. I have plenty of time to do that, but you don't seem to have time to tell me anything other than I'm wrong. Your arguments aren't based on any logical reason. Being afraid of someone who shows you they're armed makes less sense than being afraid of someone who's armed and you don't know it. Here's the straw man. Here's the fucking straw man. You are acting like the difference between open carry and concealed carry is the difference between a society in which everyone runs around knowing that everyone has guns and can see them, and a society in which everyone runs around knowing that everyone has guns and can't see them. You are 1000% refusing to acknowledge what a gun is, what a gun means to society, and how people feel about guns being around. If someone was talking to you, never mind, because that's not the whole point. Is the whole point, and the whole point is that when someone just walks into a store, They have a gun on their shoulder, on their hip. Great. Your argument is I'm supposed to assume that they're probably well-intended, because why the hell would they walk in with a gun open if they weren't well-intended? Well, that's great. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if that assumption is wrong? It's an assumption. People's lives are based on now an assumption. The debate is not about, whether we all openly care, whether it's more, we're all caring anyway, so we should just do it openly. That's fine. If I don't know you're carrying, I am not being confronted at any point with the fact that a person that I am interacting with is armed with deadly force. Being armed with deadly force is a thing that is scary for a lot of people, with good reason, because when somebody is armed with deadly force, it means that they, in an instant, have the ability to take your life away from you. That is a scary concept. If people carry concealed, regular people they interact with do not know that they are carrying, period. It means that the regular people they are interacting with are not being confronted with deadly force or the potential of deadly force. That's the difference. The difference is whether or not the people around you are being confronted with the possibility of deadly force or not. The end. Sean, you are being a snowflake right now. Everybody else in this chat has had me go after them at points. Anyone else who offered an opinion, who wanted to say something or get involved or get this or that, has had a tongue lashing, and everyone else has sat in the chat and defended their position the same way. Because that's what happens when I do a meant to offend stream, and it's my turn to sit here and offend all of you. The fact that you feel like you are entitled, that you don't have to bother telling anything. I don't have to bother defending my position unless you're going to have me on. Let me do it right. Sorry, this is not going to happen tonight or anytime in the near future. That was put out there right from the beginning. Everything about this stream, everything that a meant to offend stream is put out there right from the beginning, including parts of, if you can't handle my opinions, that is not my problem. So here's the thing, right? Again, I don't know if you're listening to me. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still here, because that's a lot better than other things. But talk to me. Don't just demand to come on to have a platform. You have words. Everyone else is using them. You have equal ability to. I am reading them. I'm already doing you the service of giving so much more attention to what you have to say than anybody else. So use that opportunity to give me information and not just tell me that I'm wrong. This is the snowflake shit, Sean. This is the snowflake shit. How many times, Sean? How many times have you said something about, the people who don't like guns say this. The people who don't like guns believe this. The people who don't like guns feel this way. How many times have you put the words into the mouth of somebody else who doesn't like guns? So shut the fuck up with this. That's not why I'm offended. I'm offended for a different reason. I love you, Sean. I will always love you. But god damn. Chill. Yes, it is. What is the I'm talking about the typing part. I'm not talking about the coming on here part. I'm talking about the typing part. Like, literally, you've been typing incessantly, so just type the things, type the answers instead of just telling me I'm wrong the whole time. All the time that I've engaged with you and talked to you, you have an infinite time to lay out your actual position instead of consistently telling me why I'm wrong for having mine and continuing to not actually listen to what mine is. And just worried about the fact that you're offended that I don't understand yours because you haven't listened. The point I'm making, I feel, is a very solid point about being confronted with deadly force or not. But you don't care. It's not about what you think. It's not about your opinions. It's about what I feel. So how are you not putting words into everyone else's mouth when you try to tell them, you're supposed to feel this way about guns. You're supposed to feel this way about guns. And how are you not putting into words in other people's mouths every time you make assumptions about what anti-gun people feel or what anti-gun people think or what anti-gun people do and don't know? Because I've heard you make assumptions about what anti-gun legislators do and don't know about guns. And I don't know if it's true or not. It may very well be true. But I don't think you actually have looked up the background of each and every single person you've ever made a statement about to therefore know exactly how much personal experience they may or may not have had handling a firearm. So you want to talk straw man? Don't sit here and straw man me out of taking a valid criticism for your own point. Go me more. Once again, more straw men. Yes, you're right. Of course it's easy for me to argue against you. And guess what? It's just as easy for me to do this to literally everyone else tonight that I've done this to. And everyone else tonight seems to be able to make a counterpoint. Or if they're actually just racist in the case of NPC asshole, just go away. Thank God he went away. Or thanks to anyone here who may have made him go away. Because we didn't need that shit. But that aside, yes, it's not fair. I'm not saying it's fair. But I'm just saying you have an opportunity to make your point, and you're not taking that point. What was a personal attack, Sean? What was a personal attack in any of this? The last thing I just said is I love you and I will always love you. I care about you. I value your opinions. I have listened I have given a lot of time to learning more about gun laws and gun legislature because of what you have taught me. And yet, repeatedly, and see, this is something too, right? You want to talk about things that's not fair or ways to not treat your friends. If you want to bring that into it, if you want to make it about that, right? I listen a lot. I have read and listened to many, many things and learned a lot about guns. Learned a lot. The second I have an opinion about guns that doesn't align with yours, you're not nice about it. That's why I keep saying this too, because no, you don't say it, Sean. You don't have to. Because the second I have an opinion about guns that doesn't line up with your opinion about guns, it's not, oh, well, I disagree with you. It's, this is why you're wrong, or this is why you're pissing me off, or listen, little girl, let me explain to you why you don't understand the things about guns that I understand. And you know what, Sean? I don't do that to you. I don't do that to you when you talk about things that I think you're dead ass wrong on, because you do. You say things all the time that I think you're just dead ass wrong. And when you are, I try to come back to you with equal respect. Not telling you I think you're dead ass wrong. Not telling you how could you say that? That's so ridiculous. That's so outlandish. That's so wrong. Oh my God, you made me feel so awful for thinking making me feel like I said these things that I didn't say. No, I try to respectfully counter with with the same way, however you're speaking to me. You never do that with guns, Sean. The second I say something you don't like or you think is wrong, you pull this shit on me every time. So you want to talk about treating your friends a certain way? You give me no credit. You give me no credit for my opinions if those opinions line up incorrectly with your opinions about guns. Because these are opinions, Sean. I'm not arguing over whether something is or isn't an automatic weapon. I don't know any of that stuff. And I'm not going to say I am. Say I do. I'm arguing the merits of an open carry society and the psychological effect it has on the people in it. And as a member of a society, and a member of society who has been around guns and who likes being around guns, I have equal right to discuss how I feel about an open carry society as you do. I have all the information that I need to have a rational discussion about whether or not I want to live in a society that allows its members to openly carry firearms. This is not a debate about how a gun is put together or the caliber of the bullet or any of the ballistics about it and things that I don't even, probably already getting it wrong because I wouldn't even know where to begin. We're not arguing about that. And Sean, you can say what you want, but you are mad about my opinion because you immediately got mad the second before I got into it. Man, got into the argument. And you started out with, you're seriously pissing me off right now. That's the first thing you said to me about it, Sean. You did not try to tell me how you felt about it. You didn't try to tell me why. You didn't say anything about it. The very first thing when I first got on this subject was an all capital message saying, you're seriously pissing me off. I can go find the exact one if you want me to get it verbatim, but something to that effect of, you're seriously pissing me off right now. I even scrolled back up to see if I missed something else that you had said when we got on the topic. Oh shit, did I say something wrong and missed something, Sean? Sean's trying to get in here and I'm running over him because I know that's happened before, or I've run over you when you're trying to say things and you set me right on something. Nope, did not happen. No, it's just your very first weigh in, when I very, very first got into the topic of guns, was to send me an all caps message telling me how I was pissing you off. My intention was not to piss you off. The funny thing is I did not even name you in the beginning of that discussion. So once again, you want to take everything back. Let's walk it all right back. Where did this start? Somebody, not Sean. Somehow, somewhere we got on guns. Not even from Sean. Open carry versus somebody else. Somebody else sent a message. Oh, it was the message about one firearm or another. Right? About, and so that got us in the gun question about. And really, most of the conversation was focused around, really, it all started the conversation. The meat of the conversation originally was how people need to chill with trying to take your guns away all the time. Because I like guns. I am looking forward to owning my first gun. And I would not like that to be taken away from me at all. That's where we started. And I made my apparently very polarizing opinions known about gun carry on my Meant to Offend stream, which entire intention is to offend people. And the very first thing I heard back, while not addressed at you, is that I got an all capital message telling me you're pissing me off. That is not true. And you know it. What I'm probably here is that you said our reason for open carry was like, Sean, go back. The first thing you did was said in all capitals, you're seriously pissing me off. And then I said, why? And then you allude, because I had no idea. I waited for a while for why you pissed me off to then find out that that's what you were upset about. So you can rewrite it. I'll go back in the chat if you want to do it this way, because I will spend time to go back and find out the truth of this. But I spend time sitting there in my stream. I'm very aware of this because I spent a lot of awkward time on my stream going, well, I don't know what Sean's pissed off about, so let me just keep talking about something until Sean decides to let me know what he's pissed off about so that I can refocus this gun argument over whatever's pissed off Sean. But no, apparently it's all my fault. And you know what? It's totally whatever. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure I'm completely wrong. I'm sure I've completely misremembered, and you're totally right. I'm sure everything you've said is right. I'm sure all of your retorts to everything I said is 1,000% accurate. I'm sure all of those opinions you never bothered to share because you were too busy telling me why mine were wrong are all fantastic. And it is just too gosh darn bad that none of us will ever be able to hear what they are because you didn't bother to tell us. You just bothered to tell me why I am wrong and a bad friend. Cool. So good to know. You're right. You know your emotions better than I do. I don't know your emotions right now. I can tell you're pissed off right now. I'm not sure why. But you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? It's the Meant to Offend stream. That's what we're here for. But the perfect way to end it, right? Because here we go. This is exactly it. This was the whole stream. This is the whole point of the night. This is the whole point of everything. Why? Why be offended? Why be upset? Why? What is the point of wasting all this time being offended? The only reason that Sean and I are having a problem from where I am standing is because Sean got offended when I started talking about the thing that he didn't like. When I started having the opinion that he didn't like. Does me having an opinion about why people want to open carry make it true? Does me having an opinion about what people think make that thing true? If I say every Trump supporter is a racist, does it make every Trump supporter a racist? We went over that already. If I say everyone who supports Biden is a communist, does it make every Biden supporter a communist? Of course it fucking doesn't. If I say everybody wants to open carry for these reasons, does that mean everybody in the world wants to open carry for those reasons? It doesn't. And you could have been a person who said, I want to open carry, and that's not why. That's not what you chose to say. You chose to immediately express why you were offended. Or no, that you were offended, and then why you were offended. And instead of being offended, you could have just engaged in the conversation. And we could have had a conversation. And instead it turned into you being offended. I love you to death, Sean. I will always love you. No part of me is in any way like, I don't want to be Sean's friend anymore. I think you are wonderful. I think the world of you. I think the same of you now as I did before this. I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset. I'm a little flabbergasted I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. Because I did the meant to offend stream about how important it is to just not get your panties in a wad. It was the test of let's see if I can just go ham and just run my mouth and fucking deal with it. And fucking we got through talking about Nazism and socialism, and no one got their panties in a wad. And then I hit the issue, your issue. And there it goes. So that's what it is. I'm not offended, Sean. I'm not offended. That's the whole thing. I'm not offended. Upset? Yeah, definitely. Definitely a little upset. Not offended, though. I feel like you are. That's the whole thing. I feel like you really are. And you did not. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, is that this all started because you got incredibly offended about something I said. And instead of wanting to talk to me about what, and in spite of me trying to get you to, instead of talking to me about what you felt, like what you actually, okay, you told me I was wrong 1,001 times. All I wanted was for you to tell me what you actually thought. That's all. That's all. I told you what I thought. I invited you to tell me what you thought. And instead I got that you were mad at me, that I was pissing you off, that I was putting words in your mouth, and that I was making straw man arguments that were all wrong. I think I'm just like waving. I was like waving at the air. Guys, don't jump on. Don't go all jumping on Sean. We got this. He and I got this along. Taking care of ourselves. So so I don't want everyone, I don't want anyone taking sides either. It's not about sides. There are no sides, right? Sean and I are friends and are going to continue to be friends. I want to be very, very clear. If anyone right now takes this opportunity to start being shitty to Sean, you will be the one cut out, not Sean. That's fine, Sean, but then don't come onto the meant to offend stream and expect to have the fact that you got offended be entertaining. See, then there's those other levels, like, okay, that's fair. Admit you're cool. Then that's the problem. The problem is that you came onto the stream that's called Meant to Offend Live and expected me to not offend you. Like, it's called Meant to Offend. If you're offended, good. That's the line. If you want me to change that all of a sudden because you're here and you have different feelings and those feelings want me, I'm not trying to start railroading on you, Sean, because I know things are calming down. I like it like that. And I don't want to escalate anything again, right? The whole thing is, that's the catchphrase, right? The show is meant to offend. If you're offended, good. So if you come here and now you're wanting to say, yeah, I do get offended by this stuff, and you're supposed to know that, and you're supposed to care. Sean, I care 1,000% of the time when I'm not on air doing my show that's called Meant to Offend. So if you're offended, good. Like, 1,000%. As soon as this camera goes off, I care 1,000%. As soon as this camera goes off, who knows? You might even get an apology. Probably not, because that would just feel like it would just ruin everything. Doesn't matter. Whatever happens after another camera is neither here nor there. It is nobody else's business, because Sean and I are friends in real life, and that will be handled accordingly and differently. But right now, we're having Meant to Offend, and people are offended, and that's that. So, the end. This did escalate big time. I like how Jeff finally came out and he was like, I'm just going to leave again. That's fair. Sean and Jeff are also friends, and so obviously Jeff did not want to be involved in anything. That's why this is the first thing I said to him was like, I think I upset Sean, because I didn't want him to like come over here if this was still happening. So, well, then I don't want to keep taking your attention, Sean, since I know you have to work. And all right, there we go. Vicious Archon has a subject to change. We didn't scare him off. Sean's work. Sean has to do his job during the stream, which is why he's never on Tuesdays. which sucks because I used to like to have them on a lot, but it was on Thursdays. I don't do Thursdays anymore. Sean, I will decide at some point whether or not I want to do this live or not, or whether I would just rather talk to you about it, because quite honestly, that is not a lot of what I want to do on my channel anymore. I do not want to spend a lot of time going back and forth with people on how we feel about issues. No, not any offense on that stuff at all. Hey, Sweet Bay, because I love talking to you about it. Again, off air, no problem, anytime. I don't like arguing with people anymore on streams. It's not fun. I don't like doing streams where I argue with people, especially people I like. So I want you back on at some point to probably teach me more things about guns and have other topics, other discussions about other things. But like, it's never been my thing. And to be like, all right, let's come on and settle it live. I don't like that. I'm like, oh, let's just turn off the cameras and settle it like people separately. Vicious Arshan says, your view on utilitarianism, ? In what context are we talking? Like as a philosophy, or as a utilitarianism is a selfish, non-functional philosophy. Utilitarianism is the philosophy that people operate under when they don't want to feel bad about being shitheads who use the people around them. Now, utilitarianism as an occasional practice is something different. And Matt has discovered. And Jesse, it turns out someone already trademarked Just Do It. Matt discovered that he's not going to get that phrase after all.
Wait, what?
Matt Decker discovered that someone else has already copyrighted Just Do It. Oh. He's very disappointed. Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, no. But yeah, Sean, if you can't chat more because work, totally understand. Watch. There we go. See, we agree. But yeah, when it comes to utilitarianism in a day-to-day, like in an occasional practice, there are times when it's just the thing that needs to be done. Loki says Art Deco is the most beautiful architecture. That is all. This is not even a topic worth debating. You're just factually incorrect. Like that's a point of fact. You're just wrong. It's just not. Although there are times when it can be the right thing, I suppose. I'm not sure when, but it's not the worst thing, but I don't think it's the best thing ever. I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I would live in an Art Deco house at all. Because I feel like I enjoy when you go into an Art Deco hotel, but I feel like it's too much if it was like my day-to-day life. I feel like it just doesn't have enough feng shui to it, like, because when you try to look it up, when you try to like Google it, you just get like the actual just like design, like a single panel design. It's like, yeah, but Art Deco is not just the funky patterns. Art Deco is when you take all those funky patterns and weirdness and you put it all together and build rooms out of it. Or unless you literally just mean unless you're talking external architecture, because Art Deco external architecture and internal architecture are very, very different, because that's a completely different thing, right? Now, Art Deco buildings from the outside, I'm inclined to agree. Well, no, not the most beautiful. Some of the most interesting. I actually really like Gothic architecture. I think that's ultimately the most beautiful. It has a lot of symmetry in it, the way it all flows together. It's just very, very pleasing to look at and has so much intricate artistry in it on the top of it. But when it comes to internally, again, I don't know if I would call it, I don't know if I call Art Deco beautiful per se. I like looking at it. But I think Gothic architecture is more beautiful on the outside than Art Deco. On the inside, Art Deco can be really, really attractive. Whereas like Gothic is always very austere because you feel like you're inside a fucking castle. So I think people who equate Art Deco with beauty, and again, you got to clarify, are we inside or outside here, Loki? Because if you're talking outside, then you might be smoking something. Beauty. Interesting. Fine. Beautiful. I might have to question your sanity. Matt Decker says, I feel denim is going to be in this year. Denim is never not in, Matt. I'm offended. This is anyone who thinks that denim could ever not be in is a moron. So obviously. Matt Decker says, future noir trumps art deco aesthetics. Honestly, future noir kind of almost feels like the evolution in a way of art deco. Like future noir has, because if you take future noir, if you sidestep future noir one step, then you get cyberpunk, right? But if you take it the other way where it still has the classiness, then it's almost like art deco on like dark, creepy steroids. I don't know. Wonderful, maybe a more concise word. Wonderful is good. It is really pleasing though. Like it's very it's got its own like, I mean, symmetry, but that's not what I'm looking for. It's like, you know, when you see the Fibonacci sequence in nature and it creates those really pretty, really pleasing to look at things. Looking at Art Deco buildings does the same thing for me as looking at like Fibonacci sequence nature patterns. I don't know if that means anything to anybody but me. And on that note, now that I've salvaged my friendship with Sean, it was never in any jeopardy. Now that I've salvaged my friendship with Sean, and we've had it out over, and we've made sure that my opinions on Art Deco are known, I think it's time for me to eat some Chinese leftovers and snuggle with mama. Tuesdays are hard now because I go out to the car and I do my show completely, live it completely away from Jeff. And then I come back in here and I do my show. And a lot of times Jeff is over finishing the high counts in the other room. And now sometimes if the show's already kind of got momentum, thanks, Shadzar. Then Jeff sort of does his own thing until it's over. And then it becomes like, God, it's been like 5.5 hours since Jeff and I got to just really be together. And that's an unacceptably long amount of time. So I'm going to leave. And I was going to make Jeff have an appearance. I was going to ask Jeff to have an appearance, say hi to you guys, but he's all like comfortably curled up in bed watching something on his phone and stuff. So I'm not going to bother him. But, I'm not happy that it was with Sean, but I'm happy we had a moment like that to have it for the Meant to Offend stream. I mean, it certainly makes it more interesting. But I'm also I am happy on the other hand too, because you guys are going to see right next week and all future weeks. Sean and I are just going to carry on like normal, like we always do in the chat. Because we care about each other, and that's what people do. So I'm gonna also I think I got everyone's email who won a Heroinberg sticker in the stream. If you haven't sent it to me though, make sure you send it to me@mindlessentertainment@gmail.com. If I have any extras, if you don't send me your email, I'm gonna give the sticker away to the James Baker. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was interesting. Next week, Cameron Pasha. We're going to bring him back and have a nice little chatsies. Jeff probably will never make it over here because Mahler's on the high count, so the high counts will probably go later than my show. But if he does, then Jeff will definitely come here to do that. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you extra special to Sean for hanging in there and being and for staying and for sticking through it. It's not fun to be that person singled out in the stream like that. And thank you everyone else for being mostly cool to Sean too. And thank you, Sean, for being cool. You're the best. Everyone go subscribe to him. Actually, that's the last thing I'm going to do before we go is I want everybody to go sub to Sean's channel, because if you are interested in guns, he does awesome videos. He's got a great voice. He puts together awesome content. And this is not just me. I'm not doing this. I feel bad that I yelled at him. This is my honest opinions on Sean's channel. Is that he's got an incredible voice, very easy to listen to voice, and he shoots big bore. So he makes things go. He's got videos of shooting pumpkins and stuff like that on his channel. I'm behind on a couple of them that I've really wanted to watch, but because he's such an awesome guy and because he is So you've all seen how cool and the quality of the character that he is. Everyone go drop him a sub and check out some of his very, very exciting Kabumi videos. Love you all, and to all a good night. God Empress.